And a very happy day, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Burgess with Maximizing Results, back with Think and Grow Rich. And Faith Part 1, we've already listened to, and you've already had a chance to listen to, I should say. And Napoleon talks about how to develop faith where faith does not already exist. And for most all of us, we don't have the faith required for us to pull off what it is we really want to do. So we have to develop that faith. And the only way to develop the faith is the repetition of affirmation of orders to the subconscious part of the mind. It isn't hard. Think about math class. Once again, I used the analogy in the last video. Think about math class. You went to math class 5 days a week, 9 months a year, 12 years, and then college, and then life. So when somebody asks you what is 5 times 5 or 7 times 7, you know the answer immediately. You don't have to think about it. And you have 1,000,000% faith that you have the correct answer, and you have 1,000,000% faith in your ability to answer that question. So how do we develop that much faith in our ability to pull off what we wrote down in the 6 steps? Same process. Repetition of affirmation of orders to the subconscious mind. So do this over and over and over again. Now, there's a lot more information in this chapter that I want to share with you. However, let's be very clear that how to develop faith, we've already talked about. But we're going to talk about it again and again and again. Why? Because repetition is the way we learn things. It's pretty simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's not really difficult. Remember, we talked about at the end of the chapter, we talked about how there are millions of people who believe themselves doomed to poverty and failure because of some strange force over which they believe they have no control. And Napoleon found through all of his research, and I certainly would agree with him through my own observations over the last 26 years of reading this book, that they are the creators of their own misfortunes because of this. They are the creators of their own misfortunes, and because of this negative belief, which is picked up by the subconscious mind and translated into its physical equivalent. So if we have a negative thought process going on, worry, doubt, and all that yucky stuff, then we're setting ourselves up to have faith in worry, doubt, and all that yucky stuff, because that's what we are repetitively impressing upon the subconscious part of our mind. Once again, this is very simple material, ladies and gentlemen. It's not difficult. Very, very simple. He says this is an appropriate place at which to suggest again that you may benefit by passing on to your subconscious mind any desire which you wish translated into its physical or monetary equivalent. However, it must be in a state of expectancy or belief that the transmutation will actually take place. And ladies and gentlemen, that's where most people fail when they try to pull this off and try to do this. See, when they repetitively impress material on the subconscious mind, are they doing that with the emotion of faith or the emotion of fear? Because if it's done with the emotion of fear, then we're setting up the frequency of vibration of fear, which means we bring into our lives all things that we are fearful of. However, if we do it with the emotion of faith, then we attract into our lives things that allow us to have more faith. Once again, this isn't hard. I mean, I quit school in the 8th grade and I finally understand this and trying to help you simplify, right? Your belief or faith is the element which determines the action of the subconscious mind. Remember, we talked about thoughts, feelings, actions, results. And then he says your belief or faith. Belief or faith is simply a feeling. Thoughts, feelings, actions, results. Once again, this stuff isn't hard. It's so simple. And then he says this: there is nothing to hinder you from deceiving your subconscious mind when giving it instructions through auto suggestion. There is nothing to hinder you from deceiving your subconscious mind. Remember Napoleon Hill and his son, when his son Blair was born? And the doctors told him that the son would grow up as a deaf mute all of his life. And Napoleon Hill said, no, that's not going to happen, in his own mind. And then he transferred that faith and belief into Blair's mind. And he did it through the principle of self-suggestion. Anybody can do this. It's not hard. And I'd like to tell you, he says to make the deceit more realistic, conduct yourself just as you would if you were already in possession of the material thing you are demanding. So conduct yourself as if you're already in possession of it. And that doesn't mean if you're asking for, $188 million that you go out and buy a lot of things that you can't afford right now. That's not what he's talking about. Not at all. What he's talking about is tell yourself this over and over again so much that you feel as if it's already taken place, even though maybe it hasn't. And I know some of you right there are going, oh my gosh, this is some Pollyanna garbage. No, this is how people pull off really cool stuff. Remember Henry Ford? I know some of you may have never heard of his name. I get it. But he did start a little bitty company called the Ford Motor Company. And he started with absolutely nothing. I mean, nothing. Nothing. And remember, he said that he wanted the V8 motor. And the engineers, the really smart people who went to school and studied the books and they passed all the tests and they understood this and understood that, they told him it was impossible. He said, do it anyway. Do it anyway. See, he had the feeling it was going to be done. He had the faith that he knew that it could be done. He knew it could be pulled off. The engineers didn't, but he did. So he transferred that faith into their minds, and eventually we obviously have the V8 motor. We have V8, V10, V12. We have cylinders as big as this room. And it was all because one man had faith that it could be done. And he says to make this deceit more realistic, conduct yourself just as you would as if you were already in possession of it. I'll never forget my first mentor. And remember, I quit school in the 8th grade. I walked out in the 8th grade and never graduated the 8th grade. And it was my first mentor that absolutely changed the way I looked at myself. When he told me one day, he said, Tim, you actually have a benefit because you quit school. I have a benefit because I quit school. You know, big companies won't even look at my resume. I can't get one of those JOB things, not that at this point in my life I want one. And he's telling me I have a benefit. So I kind of looked at him like he had 3 noses and a couple of extra ears and another hole in his head somewhere. But then he explained to me something, and I decided to accept what he had talked about. He said, Tim, listen, it's real simple for you. And he was only talking about for me. For you, it's better that you quit because you didn't spend all those additional years learning to work for somebody else. Now we'll teach you to start at the top and build the bottom so you can work for yourself. I decided to accept that. And we deceived the subconscious part of my mind who was telling me that I was worthless. I didn't have the value. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. All because I didn't attend that building. I didn't go to that building. And a very, very, very wealthy man, extremely wealthy in all areas of life, not just money. He had a different view of that. And we went to work, and I accepted what he said. And from that point forward, I absolutely believe for me only, that I had a benefit because I walked out of school. Now, we have 2 daughters. They both went all the way through school. One's in college right now. So it's not that I'm anti-school. I just want the schools to teach the kids what to do with the information once they have it. They have the information. What the hell do I do with it? Nobody tells them. So they're just kind of left, lost, wandering around, figure it out for themselves. The subconscious mind will transmute into its physical equivalent by the most direct and practical media available any order which is given it in a state of belief or faith that the order will take place. With no belief, no faith, you can talk to your subconscious mind all you want and you will get no desirable results, none. He says, surely enough has been stated to give a starting point from which one may, through experiment and practice, acquire the ability to mix faith with any order given to the subconscious mind. Perfection will come through practice. It cannot come by merely reading instructions. Perfection will come through practice. It will not come just because you read the damn book. It only took me 10 years to figure that out. Just because I read this book doesn't mean anything. Just because I've studied this thing every day for over 26 years now. 1996, over 26 years. Doesn't mean anything. It's the application of the principles that means something. If it be true that one may become a criminal by association with crime, and this is a known fact, it is equally true that one may develop faith by voluntarily suggesting to the subconscious mind that one has faith. And I can tell you that's true because when I was hanging out with my first mentor, he had well over $150 million in net worth. The people that I was around were earning well over $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 every month. And it completely changed me because I was in their environment. Now, of course, I wanted to take my ideas into their environment. I mean, I had good ideas. I quit school in the 8th grade, man. I had ideas of getting, no, not wealthy. That would be broke. I had ideas of wandering around, not any real firm direction. But I wanted them to listen to my ideas. Man, think how silly that is, folks. I thank God every day that I finally got smacked with a 2x4 hard enough to start listening to their ideas. Because their ideas were a lot more important than my ideas. And certainly a lot better. The mind comes finally to take on the nature of the influences which dominate it. I was hanging around in an environment that had vastly different thinking than I had. Understand this truth and you will know why it is essential for you to encourage the positive emotions as dominating forces of your mind and discourage and eliminate the negative emotions. I wouldn't worry about giving a lot of energy to eliminating the negative emotions. Here's what I would do if I were you. Make your mind so full of positive emotions that the negatives have no room. There's no food for them to feed on. Let's use your yard as an analogy. See, if you have a very thick, plush green lawn and beautiful grass, there's no room for weeds. There's no nutrients for weeds. The weeds can't grow. The mind is the same way. If you so dominate the mind with the positive thoughts, the negatives have no place. They have no food to feed on. But that's up to you and I to do that on purpose by design. A mind dominated by positive emotions becomes a favorable abode for the state of mind known as faith. A mind so dominated may at will give the subconscious mind instructions which it will accept and act upon immediately. Now see, ladies and gentlemen, remember the subconscious mind, this part, that's the feeling part. The feeling part is the part that's responsible for the actions we take. So how are you feeling today? You feeling full of faith in your ability to pull off what you want to pull off? Or is there this lingering doubt? Oh my God, I don't want to go to work. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a job, be grateful, man. Be grateful. Go in and be the best you can be for that employer. Somebody took a risk and they opened a company. Somebody has payroll and expenses to the government and taxes and all the expenses that go with it to give you an opportunity to go there and produce results and to give me an opportunity to help you go there and produce results. So let's get the right mindset if that's the environment we find ourselves in. He goes into this next portion of the chapter. He says, faith is a state of mind which may be induced by autosuggestion. Let's change that word. Faith is a state of mind which may be induced by self-suggestion. He says, all down through the ages, the religionists have admonished struggling humanity to have faith in this, that, and the other dogma or creed, but they have failed to tell people how to have faith. They have not stated that faith is a state of mind and it may be induced by self-suggestion. Self-suggestion, that's Napoleon's words on the bottom of the page. See, once again, I think he would have brought self-suggestion into the forefront. So he goes on, he says, in language which any normal human being can understand, we will describe all that is known about the principle through which faith may be developed where it does not already exist. Have faith in yourself, faith in the infinite. Before we begin, you should be reminded again that faith is the eternal elixir which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. The foregoing sentence is worth reading a second time, a third, and a fourth. It is worth reading out loud. Well, we've done that. We've read it out loud, haven't we? I believe we have. Faith is the eternal elixir which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. So you have a thought. The impulse of that, or to put it into action, we have to go down here. Down here is where the action actually takes place through the body. But the thought up here does not become the action here. The thought up here becomes the feeling here first. And then the action. So if you haven't created the feeling of what you really want, you haven't created the feeling of faith, don't be surprised that you're not taking the appropriate actions to pull it off. Faith is the starting point of all accumulation of riches. Faith is the basis of all miracles and all mysteries which cannot be analyzed by the rules of science. Faith is the only known antidote for failure. Faith is the element, the chemical, which when mixed with prayer, gives one direct communication with infinite intelligence. Direct communication with infinite intelligence. Direct communication with God. That's what he's saying. Once again, until you can prove him wrong, just go with what he's saying. Faith is the element which transforms the ordinary vibration of thought created by the finite mind of man into the spiritual equivalent. Remember, if we want to talk to infinite intelligence, we have to speak that language. Faith is the only agency through which the cosmic force of infinite intelligence can be harnessed and used by man. He says every one of the foregoing statements is capable of proof. The proof is simple and easily demonstrated. It is wrapped up in the principle of autosuggestion. It is wrapped up in the principle of autosuggestion. Let's change that. It's wrapped up in the principle of self-suggestion. So ladies and gentlemen, this day, what are you suggesting to yourself? What are you talking to yourself about? Because we go through no day without talking to ourselves all day. Are we aware of what we're saying? Are we creating faith with our words? Are we creating faith with the repetitive information that we continue to impress upon the subconscious mind? Or are we creating fear and doubt and worry and all of the yucky shit that goes with that? The choice is yours. Keep your mind positive. Make the dominating thoughts of your mind so positive that the negative emotions don't have any food to feed upon. There's nothing for them. I look forward to going through part 3 with you, so please make sure you hit the subscribe button, push the like button. Do me a favor, take this video out, share it with everybody, and learn to develop faith in themselves. Faith in their ability to go out and do what they want to do. Faith to live as they want to live. But it's up to each one of us. Nobody's going to do it for us. As always, let's all say thank you to Joe. Joe, I want to thank you, my friend, because truly without your inspiration, I wouldn't be doing this. So thank you, my friend. As always, we wish for this day right now, to be the very best day you've ever experienced in this game we call life. Yesterday doesn't matter. It's over. Can't do anything about it. Tomorrow isn't here. Can't do anything about that, except plan for it and visualize. However, today, right now, we can make a decision that this will be and is the very best day we've ever experienced in this game we call life. Tonight, when you put your head on the pillow, please do so with a mind full of peace. Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. And may God bless each and every one of you. Have a fabulous day.